This is me flying on my own with all my gear to my next shoot. Let's pack. So for my next shoot, I will be flying to America and I'm flying alone. And I'm taking my Red with me, and therefore I need all my accessories and stuff that I need to bring in order to shoot. Now, first off, let me make clear that this is just my way of packing and my way of doing things. I would be very interested to know how you do it and if you have any tips for me. So please comment down below and show me your tricks and tips. Now, to start off with, I would like to show you just my regular camera setup, how I have it right now. So this is it, this is the Red. Because I'm shooting on my own, I do not have a matte box, I do not use cine glass, I would only use EF glass, so Canon glass on it. And the easy part with that, just like I told you in another video on the cine gear, is that I just have an ND filter on. So basically this is my lightweight setup as far as that is actually possible with a Red. Now the first thing I would do when I would start packing is actually check that the camera works well. I will double check the firmware, see if there's an update. I will check all my screws to make sure that, you know, everything is just attached and it feels good. And after that, I will start actually detaching all of the accessories and then putting it in my bag over there. So I'll be coming back to that very soon. We'll do that in some kind of time-lapse thingy because this will take too much time. So let's move on. If I know that this is okay, then I will basically lay all my gear out on the table like I have right now and start working. Well, I'll just take you through it. First off, audio. If I shoot on my own, I will not take a whole audio bag with me, just because the fact that I'll be the operator of the camera and I need to direct, so I don't have time to really do that. I would prefer to always shoot with a dedicated sound recordist, but that's just not always possible, especially in documentary situations. So what I will then do is take both of these Zaxcoms with me. So this is just a transmitter with two batteries in it, just complete. I have two of them. And I'll take my transmitter, which is now in the audio bag actually recording me, and would attach this with Velcro onto the V-lock of the camera. Now, moving on, I will always try and take at least two lenses with me, because if that Canon fails, I'll have a backup. I'll keep it on EF because it's just easier, EF glass, and like if everything fails, I would ruin two lenses. I would still have an opportunity to buy EF glass in some photo shop or whatever and still continue shooting. So that makes my life a little bit easier. And then I would definitely have at least one little light with me from Aperture. This is an Amaran light, just because it's very easy. You can charge it by USB and it doesn't take up that much space. Now the other thing that needs to be in the actual backpack are batteries. Now you have to be a bit careful with these. You can't take too many of them. Please check regulations, because I know that in some airports in some countries they're very strict when it comes to wattage hours, stuff like that. So double check it. I know that these blue shapes 90 watt hours, they should work fine, and you need to keep them in your bag. And I had one time that they actually checked my bag and asked me to put a battery on the camera to show that it works. So there you go, it's just a tip. I will take tape with me. Don't forget your marker. My V-lock charger, that will go in my suitcase, not in my backpack, because it doesn't need to. And it will save weight. Then moving over to this side, I'll take a little mag light with me, which is just great if you want to You can either use this for flaring, but it's also very useful at night if you look at your stuff or you need to check your bag or whatever. That's really useful. Don't forget travel chargers. Might be a silly tip, but I tend to forget them. And when you do, well, you have to get into a shop, it's late at night, or you have to ask at the hotel reception and stuff like that. It's really useful to do that. And if you have like the adapter, I would also take at least one of these with me, because a lot of hotel rooms only have one socket. I'll make 3 of them, maybe even more. And now I have changed my 15-inch laptop into a 13-inch MacBook Pro, which is a lot lighter, and therefore I like it better. It's not a real editing machine, but actually I don't need to, because in a lot of situations I don't need to really edit. I may want to review my dailies, but I don't want to do any of the heavy lifting while I'm shooting on location. So I'm actually very happy with this, and it saves weight. This will also go in my backpack for obvious reasons. Don't forget the charger and an adapter for just your regular USB, because the new MacBook Pro only has USB-C. Now, onto storage. While I love my bigger shuttle EV from G Technology, that's over 7 kilograms, so that's not ideal. It won't fit in my backpack. I don't want to take it with me in my suitcase if I'm shooting on my own. It's just too heavy. So for that situation, I have 2 G Technology EV RAW encasements with spinning discs, 1 terabyte drives in them. 2, so 1 and then another one for duplicate backup. And I have my, a lot smaller, easier, I would say, R series G drive minis. Both are 1 terabyte as well. This is great for location work, and then I'll just back up to these whenever I'm done shooting. For this particular shoot, this is enough, because I know that I won't shoot more than 2 terabytes. This is something to think about if this would be enough, or that you have to either buy more or whatever. Obviously I need my Red Mini-Mag reader because I'm shooting with Red. And then one of the things that I actually tend to forget is my Red toolbox. So what I did is basically I put all of my tools that will either attach stuff or I can screw stuff back onto my Red. I all keep them in this one box. So I have in here is a PL mount adapter from Wooden Camera, and then I've just basically got all my screws, Phillips, just to make sure that if I'm on location and for whatever reason something breaks or goes loose, I still have like a few tools to help me be on my way. Now, I'm going to break down the camera and then we'll pick it up. One of the things I do is, because I have a few spare EF lens pouches, I will take stuff like that, like the top handle, the Titan arm, all these things, the Zacuto. I will put them in these little pouches because I just love it. And then I'll break down the tripod into the case, and well, you'll see the final result of me putting this all together and then having to lug this around at the airport. Now, one of the things that you might need to think of is to actually put a lens on the camera. I have been asked once to show that the camera actually works, so it might be very useful to actually have a lens attached to your body. So I will basically take it with me like this. I'll keep the V-Log adapter on it so I can put a battery on and have the lens on there as well. This is a bit tricky because obviously if you lug it around and you do a lot of bumps, just make sure that, you know, the whole camera stays in one piece. So this is, well, the basics. Let's go through it, and I'll tell you a bit about the decisions I made on what I will take with me on the plane. Well, obviously the camera is going to be in here. V-Log adapter on it. I detached the big shoulder mount VCT plate from Arri. That will go into the suitcase, together with basically all the large grip items that can handle a bit of beating. So that goes for the grip, this particular thing for the Zacuto viewfinder, tape can be in there, charger, my tools. So this is basically what you would like to protect and what's most expensive. I have my extra lens with me. I've got 2 of my spinning hard drives, 2 R series. My Zacuto viewfinder is in here because I don't trust that in my suitcase. The monitor from Red is in here, and the V-Log batteries. Don't forget that every battery powered device and its batteries need to be in your hand luggage. There is a maximum capacity for how many batteries you can bring. Make sure that you don't go over that limit. That being said, I think that what's most important is I like to keep my passport in here, just because it's safe in the inside, and this is how I travel. Now normally this is not a problem. For some carriers, for some airlines, this might be too heavy. So make sure to check with your airline if this is okay or not. I didn't have any problems yet, especially on the bigger international flights, but it is something to consider. My way of selling this is basically to say, well, if you want me to get all the stuff out that I would like to keep with me in the plane, that's basically the whole bag. So you tell me, and then normally that wouldn't be a problem. Make sure to board as one of the first or have your frequent flyer status. That will really help for you to find an overhead bin where this all fits. That's it. I now need to basically only get all the heavier gear into this suitcase. This is actually, it's more like an example. I would rather fly with a consumer suitcase because it's just a little less obvious than I'm a filmmaker. So I like that better. And normally this tripod, the Miller, would fit in my suitcase as well. And then I just wrap it around with all my clothes. And then I've just got a very compact and easy setting. So that's it. Please subscribe to this channel if you like this video, and I hope to see you next time.